Welcome, friends and foes, survivors and killers. Let's sit around the campfire together and talk about Dead by Daylight. Specifically, Cocaine Bear, the modern classic of horror that's gripped the world and the potential and problems of a Cocaine Bear licensed chapter for Dead by Daylight. Every so often, maybe once in a generation, there comes a movie that turns the rules of filmmaking on their heads and makes us reassess not just what the medium of film can accomplish, but how we as viewers live our lives and understand stories in general. Aliens changed how many people perceived high-budget science fiction and female protagonists across all sorts of media. Iron Man gave birth to not just a franchise, but a whole method of making movies that dominated box offices since the first film's release. And Despicable Me heralded a line of movies that proved to international audiences that society's ills would be solved if Chris Meledandri was sent to The Hague and every family burned an effigy of a minion in the street to cleanse the yellow menace from the surface of this scarred world. What we're talking about today is a cultural reset greater even than the Minions movies. A horror movie that redefined horror movies for the 2020s and got the whole world talking about this legendary game changer. And that film is Cocaine Bear. The film was directed by Elizabeth Banks after the producers realised that only the mastermind behind a true epic, like the Charlie's Angels reboot, could possibly carry the burden of this incredible undertaking, and the end result truly shows the mastery of the medium Banks and the cast and crew put to use to make this film. Naturally, this review will be full of spoilers for the cinematic masterpiece, and it's available on digital right now, so do go take a look before watching this video. Cocaine Bear is based on real events, following in the tradition of films like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Amityville Horror, and Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It stars a bear in the wilderness of Tennessee which raided a drug dealer's deposit of cocaine back in 1985. Besides the obvious inaccuracy that Tennessee doesn't really exist, Cocaine Bear is pretty accurate to the original course of history. 8 people were killed on the bear's drug-fueled rampage, including beloved character actress Margot Martindale, before the bear slunk off into the forest to spend the rest of its life with its cubs. Okay, so some of that might not actually be true. The bear didn't have cubs, and didn't survive the overdose, and didn't kill anyone at all, and wasn't even known about by the authorities until it was found dead in Georgia with several kilos of cocaine in its body. But come on, what are you going to do about the fact that I lied to you? I'm a DVD content creator. You can't hold me responsible for the things I say and do, no matter if it's exaggeration, misinformation, or downright fabrication. I didn't sign up for accountability when I started this job, and I'm sure as hell not prepared to start now. In any case, the bear in the movie is given a right cast of supporting characters to claw its way through on its adventures in the wonderful world of Class A drugs, including a single mother looking for her daughter, a pair of drug dealers trying to retrieve the cocaine, 2 Scandinavian stereotypes, and 3 teenagers who clearly attended the Ben Platt College of playing a role or two old for. The film was divided up into following the actions of these various supporting characters trying to survive the bear's rampage before it all comes together at the end, with the remaining cast members returning to their lives a little wiser, a little closer, and in some cases a little higher than they were before. The arrival of so-called elevated horror in Dead by Daylight is long overdue. Sure, we've had Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers, but where's our chapter on Hereditary, Get Out, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, Midsummer? Wait, never mind, Midsummer's pretty trash. Well, hopefully Cocaine Bear will be coming soon to right this horrific wrong, because if you watch the movie, you'll see that that bear is elevated off her face. And if a nose full of cocaine and a stomach full of side characters isn't enough of a resume to make it into DVD, then I don't know what is. In today's video, we'll be exploring the idea of Cocaine Bear arriving in spectacular fashion to Dead by Daylight, the survival options that could come with this chapter, and the incredible importance of the bear itself from a character and symbolism standpoint. And we'll be finishing off, as we always do, with a power concept for the killer. So, let's crack on. Crack. In Cocaine Bear, we have 2 mini-stories that converge around the cocaine drop in the forest. A single mother trying to find her daughter who's been taken by the bear, and the drug dealers trying to retrieve the cocaine while being pursued by a cop. And while the bear is the central character of the story, our main protagonist who we root for in her cocaine quest, these supporting characters are important to defining her story. The pair of drug dealers chasing the bear down are a fun and believable pair of characters in this world whose desire to retrieve the cocaine stands at odds with the bear's desire to ingest as much of it as possible. Alden Ehrenreich especially sells his role as a grieving widower recovering from heartbreak. He is used to playing a solo role after all. The choice to make David and Eddie specifically drug dealers who are looking for the cocaine is actually a very clever casting and scripting choice, because they bounce off each other really well and are a great time to watch, just like how real life drug dealers are great fun to be around and you should support your local drug dealer whenever possible. This conflicts with the motivations of our main character to create an anti-hero and anti-villain relationship. Despite having a noble motive, the drug dealers are in opposition to our main protagonist, the bear, to create a complex moral dilemma about who should get the cocaine. It's moral dilemmas like these that make truly great cinema possible, and Cocaine Bear follows in the footsteps of such kino like Citizen Kane, The Godfather and Shark Tale to create ethical quandaries that will haunt you long after the movie is over. When we're looking at survivors who adapt into Dead by Daylight, Eddie and David are the first places to look. But we can't count out the single mother Sari and the cop who bring their unique charms to the table. The cop whose name I could easily look up, but I can't remember and don't particularly care to, is nevertheless one of the characters ever, who we learn to love not because he's a charming and compelling individual with his own arc, morality and flaws, but because he's got a cute dog, who he's looking after for much of the film's runtime. Which is immediately a much better thing than most American cops do to dogs. Given he's one of the 2 deaths in the movie that don't come as a result of the bear, I don't think he's got a good enough rivalry, I want to say, with the bear to really be a worthwhile survivor capable of representing the film to the best this franchise could offer. Sari is the other winning option for a Cocaine Bear survivor away from the drug dealer subplot, since the alternatives are park rangers, who unlike cops provide a service too vital to America's forestry to risk the entity taking them, or children, who the entity does not take because of violence against children regulations on Twitch. She's driven, intelligent and lots of fun to watch on screen, and she saves her daughter from the bear's drug den, but unfortunately there is a slight issue. See, I've been reading some YouTube comments lately and I've realised that having a woman in the video game simply can't be allowed, because that would be woke and we can't have that. But all jokes aside, I think there's only one real option for a Cocaine Bear survivor, and this might be the only serious part of this video. Sid White, Eddie's father, is played by the late Ray Liotta, who died last year at the age of 67. Liotta was, in no uncertain terms, a legend. Best known for his starring role as Henry Hill in Goodfellas, and his performance defined much of what we identify as crime and gangster movie tropes today. The history of mob movies was channeled in Liotta's performance in Cocaine Bear because his history as the man who defined the mob movie is so instantly identifiable. You want a hard-bitten mobster who'll ruthlessly kill people and bears alike to get his shit back, you cast Ray Liotta, because while the whole point of Goodfellas was that Henry Hill wasn't such a stone-cold badass, Liotta's massive significance in what many would argue to be the definitive mob movie rubs off on his performance as Sid White. If you've seen Goodfellas, you can always think of Sid White as the Jimmy to his son's Henry, if you will. And Liotta's performance gives the movie a proper villain and gives the story some bite, as a dark mirror to not just the bear but all the other single parents of the movie. Sari, Eddie, the bear, and even the cop are all single parents who just want what's best for their children and are willing to get their hands, or well, claws, dirty to ensure their safety. Whereas Sid's relationship with Eddie is more transactional. While Sid does seem to care for Eddie, at least to some degree, he's a professional first and foremost, and any claims he makes of wanting to protect his family if he can't get back the drug money just feel like an excuse. If he really wanted his family to be safe, he'd never have gotten involved in the drug industry in the first place. It's fitting that his confrontation with the bear is effectively the film's final boss battle. The bear not just fighting with the power of Class A drugs in her system, but also the maternal urge to fight protecting her cubs that allows her to win out over Sid. Because while the bear stands by her cubs, Sid's own son Eddie has already abandoned him. Alienated by his father's ruthlessness and refusal to back down from his goal, even if it means saving the ones he ostensibly cares about. Sid is left alone in the bear's den, and as he's ripped apart, we have our first and only bear kill that's not mindless or goofy, but kind of cathartic. A truly well-earned feast for the cubs, and a deserved rest for their mother. Dropping all humour here, we'll never get Cocaine Bear in DVD, but if we ever did, I'd love to see Sid, and by extension Ray Liotta, immortalised in this game. We've catalogued so many legends of film history, fictional titans of cinema, but maybe we should pay homage to a real one once in a while. a memorial to one of Hollywood's most impressive alumni in his last finished film before he passed on. What a way to remember him. Oh, yeah, okay. This is meant to be the silly, funny April Fool's Day video, right? Haha, funny bear, funny cocaine jokes, yeah, funny comedy, haha, etc. Right, how do we get back on topic? Oh yeah, I figured it out. We've talked about all the humans of the franchise, so let's talk about the main event. Cocaine Bear's very own, well, Cocaine Bear. Let's be honest, the bear is the draw of this movie, and who can blame it? With the title so eye-catchy it put snakes on a plane to shame, became a staple of memes, and revelled in its infamy for months before the film's release. Despite being based on a real bear, the film takes heavy creative liberties to play such a crazy concept for all it's worth, and the film's approach to its titular bear reflects that. Like, look at the second part of this movie's cold open. We're greeted with two European ramblers spending a little longer than is actually funny wandering around the woods enjoying nature like the fucking hippies they are. You can tell from their enjoyment of surroundings and their awe and respect for the natural world they're clearly the villains of this movie, because as a gamer it takes some religion to go outside. Fortunately, the bear is ready and waiting for them, and as soon as we lay eyes on the bear, its personality and characteristics are, well, laid bare for us, with a startling amount of clarity for a wordless character kind of like Jason Voorhees. The bear choosing to attack the woman but leave the man alone indicates that the bear has seen Game of Thrones and respects Christopher Heathew for his performance as Tormund Giantsbane. Maybe the bear feels bad for how season 8 of the show ended. Can't say I blame her for that. The butterfly that she chases during the title card is another barely perceptible but definitely forethought action by the director and screenwriter to demonstrate this bear's keen awareness of the food chain and her place in it. Any biology teacher will tell you butterflies are the one creature above bears on the food chain, and thus merit respect and fear from any wise bear who wishes to keep their drugs inside their body. The bear is a fierce hunter, but she's also a cautious one, and as the butterfly simply passes her by, it's a sign to the audience that she's clever enough to keep herself out of a fight that she can't win. One might say, she's smarter than the average bear. The whole movie can be seen as effectively a character study for the bear, with every action she takes, every move she makes, painting a picture of who she is and what she values, all without saying a word. At least if isn't a word, which last I checked it isn't. Right out the bat, her cocaine addiction is what renders her a menace as opposed to any predisposition to violence, because it's the 1980s and anti-drug PSAs like the ones playing at the start of the movie were rampant during the Reagan era. It was very thoughtful of the real-life bear to die in 1985, so this thematic comparison could be made. In addition, her attack on the ambulance crew is an allusion to Reagan's attacks on the government-funded healthcare programs, including cuts to Medicaid of 18% and a cut on the budget of the Department of Health and Human Services of 25%. The bear's activities in the movie represent many of the social and political menaces of Reaganomics and the use of the war on drugs as a veil to attack marginalised communities. This reading turns Cocaine Bear from merely a deep character study to a political thriller that reflects on the tumultuous period of the 80s when the Cold War was at its height and America was waiting with bated breath to see if capitalism could be saved. Even the death of the cop at the film's halfway point is a subtle reference to the fact that the bear is fucking based, and understands that reforming institutions as fundamentally corrupt as American police departments is impossible, and nothing short of totally dismantling these organisations will prevent the chokehold they have on America's marginalised citizens. Hashtag based and bear-pilled. Maybe that's why Cocaine Bear was so aggressively memed, because at the end of the day, Cocaine Bear represents America. Yes, the 50 states of unashamed excess and consumption, the land of the free and the home of the brave. This film documents the bear and her cubs as they enjoy life, liberty and the pursuit of happiness in the form of the white powder they found lying around in the woods. The bear attacks foreigners, the young, the working class, women, people of colour and public health workers, all in the name of protecting what it loves the most. And it even exercises the right to bear arms. Well, they might be bare-legged, but I guess that's down to a question of philosophy. Cocaine Bear will go down forever, not just as a classic of modern horror, but as a time capsule of American history. A snapshot of the American dream that will never fade or distort over time, as ideologies and governments rise and fall throughout the centuries. When they send out probes to space to show aliens what planet Earth is like, Cocaine Bear will be on it on DVD, Blu-ray and digital. And they'll see when they turn it on not just a charming horror comedy, but a distillation of the American dream. Condensed down to 95 minutes, including credits, of true serenity. So now we know what Cocaine Bear is and what it can be to all of us, but let's talk for a second about how this masterpiece could find its way into Dead by Daylight. The law is simple. the entity can just pay the bear like a mercenary in endless supplies of cocaine. But when it comes to power, things get a little bit harder. It wasn't easy, but with the wisdom of Elizabeth Banks possessing me and flowing through my body, I finally got one done so I can show you a power for Dead by Daylight's first ever bear. Okay, second bear. Tell me what you think. The bear's power is called High and Mighty. Has a special attack, charge, as well as the duffel bag system. At any time, the bear can press M2 to begin a charge. After a 1 second channel time where the bear roars, slowing itself severely, the bear begins to move at 150% speed with a reduced turning circle for 4 seconds. The bear can make a charge attack during that 4-second window, entering a fatigue when they do so or when the window ends. The bear has 3 cocaine levels that improve the power of charge. Level 1 provides no additional benefits. Level 2 increases the charge duration by 2 seconds, charge attacks break pallets, and throw survivors that have been hit by a charge away, damaging any other survivors they hit. Level 3, charge now moves at 165% speed and lasts an infinite duration. Survivors will instantly put into the dying state if they are thrown into an object by level 3 charge, or if another survivor is thrown into them by level 3 charge. When a survivor is hit by charge in level 3 will linger 15 seconds before the bear calms down and reverts back to level 1. And now for the duffel bag system. During any trial with the bear, 2 duffel bags will drop from the sky a minimum distance from all players and each other. Survivors can see the aura of duffel bags when they're idle, and the bear can see it when she's within 80 meters of the idle bag. A survivor can pick up the idle bag and it functions like Sadako's tapes. It is a temporary item that cannot be dropped once it's picked up, and does not replace her existing item. When the bear finds an idle duffel bag, the bag is destroyed and she immediately enters level 3, regardless of what level she's in. Whenever the killer downs a survivor carrying the duffel bag, the bear will roar and all survivors on the map will scream. The bag is destroyed, a new one will drop from the sky, and the bear will gain 1 cocaine level. Whenever a duffel bag is left anywhere for any reason, a cocaine cub will spawn after 20 seconds and fall asleep where the bag is left. Survivors can crouch walk within 12 meters of the cubs to avoid being detected to pick up the bag. But if the survivor is noticed, the cubs will wake up and run off with the bag, moving at 85% base speed away from the survivor and alerting the bear with killer instinct on the survivor who woke them up. And finally, holding the bag. When a survivor is carrying the bag, the bear can see a trail of white powder in the air leading them directly to that survivor, visible at a range of 32 meters, 48 meters, or map wide depending on the cocaine level of the bear. Survivors carrying the bag can take a special action known as just a sniff. Doing so will increase the survivor's field of view by 5%, render the survivor oblivious and make any skill checks they perform faster, smaller, and remove all great skill checks, but grant increased blood point gain for successful skill checks and a 3% increase in action speed after doing the skill checks for 8 seconds or more. The effect of just a sniff lasts 45 seconds or until the survivor is hit. And we got some perks and some add-ons waiting as well. Big thanks to my good friend Dawn who made these perks. The 2020s have been a stellar decade for horror. The revival of classic franchises like Scream, Hellraiser and Candyman with high quality sequels has demonstrated that many of the genre's giants from old, who we'd assumed had given it all they could, still have so much more to offer us. While a resurgence of charming original horror like Malignant, Megan, X and Barbarian shows off the creativity and skill of new horror filmmakers and the compelling world they can create.
Next time, baby.
Cocaine Bear is the apotheosis of that creative spirit. That desire to make new original horror fun and exciting, even if the goal isn't necessarily to be scary. For better or worse, Cocaine Bear has become a name impossible to ignore, even appearing at the Oscars to give out the award for Best Visual Effects alongside Elizabeth Banks. It's a film designed to be an instant cult classic, the snakes on a plane or Jennifer's Body of its day that I'm sure is going to get appreciated more over the years as people realise that this B-movie with a memey title has a surprising amount of heart to it despite its lack of focus or technical issues. It's silly, but it's not stupid. And knowing that we'll never get it in Dead by Daylight is almost more than I can bear. Well, I hope you enjoyed my little foray into the world of Cocaine Bear. If you think I'm insane and hate that I've taken this video not very seriously, please look at the upload date, and while you're down there, do subscribe if you're interested in more actual Petra Problems videos and DBD lore videos in the near future. The new mid-chapter is dropping, and I have many thoughts on it that I'll be going into very soon, but before then, I want to tell you about something really cool that I'm doing. Today and tomorrow I'll be on the official DBD Mobile Twitch channel alongside Coconut RTS, where the two of us will be shoutcasting for the playoffs of the DBD Mobile Invitational Tournament. A ton of really cool DBD streamers and comp players that you might be aware of are surviving and slashing on mobile to earn from their share of a $30,000 prize pool. They didn't tell me to say this, but it'd be cool to see you drop by. So that'll be at 4 PM Eastern or 9 PM GMT British Boy time on April the 1st and 2nd. Looking forward to seeing you there. And if not, guess I'll see you in the next video. Ta-ta for now.